Yo, what is up, everybody? This is Jake Monster J. Hey, we are going to be starting our first ever bro build with a bro. So I'm kicking it off. We're going to be building a mini Z 30-inch. Hopefully, everybody's gotten their supplies in. Where I'm not going to go too much into the supplies. I've already posted about that. But what I am going to do, I am recording the entire screen right now so that I can upload this later on. What up, Trey Hundo? You doing all right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't know you had audio off. You said you were going to turn the audio off, so that's the reason I just waved.
Oh yeah. No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I'll mute everybody here pretty soon.
It's like, where's everybody else at?
They'll be joining. Wow, you're breaking up.
That's because I don't know why. That's because.
Yeah. So I'm recording right now. So I'll just kind of do the introduction. Then we've got the 30-inch Mini Z that we're going to be building. I'm not going to post up about the supplies because I already posted about that. What we're going to do is we're going to dig right into starting the build. It's going to be most likely broken up into 3 different sections. We're going to be sparring tonight, gluing the house together, putting in some supports, and that piece. So, all right.
I'm building with you, I promise. I had to re-glue something.
Yeah.
I have a hot glue gun that's hot all the time. Hot glue gun is your friend in these builds. Just everybody know that. Hot glue gun is your friend.
Even after you build it, make sure you got hot glue. All that kind of stuff is going to help you out. I don't know how to mute everybody. Let's see here.
I mean, I can change mine. On mine, it just does speakerphone, or basically like speaker, and then it does like headset only.
Yeah, there is a way to mute everybody.
No idea. I haven't gooped in my birds. Here's a question for you. Maybe it can help other people whenever you're done. Have you found nozzles that attach to the big glue thing?
I'll show you in just a second.
Awesome. That's like one of my main things.
What if I right click?
Oh, are you on your computer or are you on your phone?
I am on a computer.
Okay, so yeah, you probably have more options than I do.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Man, I really don't want to use this. I done bought 2 of these things, these tubes of glue, but I've lost one. Brand new, inbox, never even opened it.
Yep. All right. I'm going to go on, so I guess I'll just ask if anybody joins on to go ahead and mute. But so we're going to go out in my garage, so hopefully I can keep the lights on. We'll have some fun with that. But I will set everybody up. Get things going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you guys up. My build table is literally a ice chest. And then everything else is kind of spread out here. So just bear with me here. Hundle, I will show you what I found for the it's for the E6000. I don't know if it'll fit on the Goop, but it's a pretty badass little deal you get. Little 1 ounce E6000 that comes with the tips. Kind of show you a little bit of everything that I've got going on here. We'll dig right into the build. I'll show you guys a few things that I do, maybe a little bit different than most, but we'll see how that goes. Trey, you good? I got good audio?
Oh yeah, dude, you have great audio.
All right. Well,
doing good.
All right, so here we go. We're going to get started. I should be able to see my build table here.
So this is actually good with me being on. I'm able to see and tell you to adjust. You can see it. All right.
Yeah, I'll have to.
The build table to show your deep freeze you have. Oh yeah, real good.
I just got to see if this is going to work as far as layout goes. All right. Yeah, you guys should be able to see pretty much everything here. So again, I'm in my garage. It's just my work area. So when you guys got your Mini Z 30-inch, this is pretty much what you've got. 2 pieces of foam. The wing actually is inserted into each piece, a left and a right. And then you got a bag full of goodies. You got spars in here, coroplast, your verts, winglets. These are going to be your ailerons, so we'll do a little bit of work with the ailerons too. But yeah, that came in your packet. You got your motor mount. Mine came with looks like a PLA motor mount, and then a PLA actual the motor mount. Mine I got with the nose cone. That's an option that you can get through Chris Click. So yeah, so those are the parts there, the little pieces to have. We'll bust those things open, but we'll dig into that. Trey, you were asking about nozzles and tips and different pieces. I found this little guy at Walmart, I believe. But it comes with your little nozzle pieces here that will let you get down and in. So we're going to be using some of that. I ended up getting, I don't know if you can tell, but that's white Blanco. So you want to have, I usually use clear, transparent. But this is what they had at Walmart. It was the bigger, 2 fluid ounce. I think you can get a 3.7 at Walmart, but go ahead and do that. We're going to have a little bit of CA glue that we're going to use to set all the spars in. We're going to go over the top of it with the E6000. I'll show you guys some tricks. And then I got some handy little activator. This isn't totally necessary, but it's awesome to have. So first things that we're going to do, so also you want to have a Zacto blade. I get these. I got the fancy one. They have some cheapo ones that are like $1. These are like $5. Get replaceable blades. You're going to want to have a sharp blade when you're doing a lot of this stuff. So this is going to come in handy too. So what I do is I take out the halves, kind of set those aside for the time being. You'll notice, just real quick too, you'll notice that with Chris Click, with the right wing wings, you have channels for all of your spars in here. So that's something that's exclusive to Chris Click and what he does. Piece there to protect the battery. There on the foam. You can kind of tell your angles here on what side that is. So this is the right side, because when your ailerons here, when you want to go down with your aileron, you want to have room for that to go down. So you're going to have that space there. So one thing that I noticed when I pull these out, and I'll show you guys here a little trick, but these channels, sometimes they're not fully deep, and I will show you what I mean here in a second, but you want those to be fully embedded and flat with the wing surface. So we'll go over that. But the first thing to do, and a lot of people get really exact. I'm not real big on getting too exact. I just kind of look at how that wing is cut out of that foam. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this down the middle so we can create 2 halves, which will create a wing bed, which will help keep everything flat and true. That's going to be the big thing that you want to do with these wings is when you're building them is you want that leading edge as straight as you can possibly get it. So having the wing bed to lay it into it is going to be a major deal there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down the middle. I'm just going to look kind of where I want it to be, put the blade about at middle, see where that is on here, and then I'm just going to try to go as straight as I possibly can. Straight down this side. So then I've got 2 halves. Okay. One thing to note, it's kind of nice to have a Sharpie somewhere around. But so the flatter side of that is going to be the bottom. The more curvature is going to be your top. So you can go ahead and write T for top, B for bottom, whatever you want to do to kind of help keep everything straight. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. B, T. Real simple. So I'm going to look at this one again, okay? So you got the curvature coming up and around here. This is the more flat side, so T, B. I'm going to go ahead and cut this back in half. I'm going to move some of this stuff so I got a little bit of room. I do need to get my hot glue gun going, so I'm going to plug that bad boy in so I can glue these and kind of get them pieced together nice and easy. So hot glue guns, I mean, you don't have to get a super fancy one. This is an old one that I have. It's actually really, really hot, but just be cautious about it. You know, just having glue to keep pieces together is all you really are looking for. So there's multiple ways to kind of piece these things together. I mean, a lot of times you can use some glue, welder's glue. I found that out. It's really, really nice. Good, easy to do. Dries fairly quick, so that's pretty awesome. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this back down the middle with my blade, and then we're going to join the 2 halves. So again, I'm going to eyeball. I'm going to put that about right in the middle. See what that looks like down this side. Cut it as straight as I can. Obviously, you know, use those safety measures that your dad taught you. Cut away from you, blah, blah, blah. So, so now that I've got 2 bottoms, and I've got 2 tops. All I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these guys together like so. And then that's going to create my wing bed. What I'm going to look for is to try to make sure that I'm not worried about the bottom. I'm worried about the top lining up and making sure that this is all straight. So what I usually do is I'll put either hot glue or E6000 on there, push them together, get them started, and then that way I've got a good solid base to know where I'm at. So both of them tops, I'm good to go there. So we'll see if we got my hot glue gun going. It's a hot son of a bitch, so should be good. It needs a little bit more time. So right now, I guess it's just me and Trey. I know, Trey, do you wanna add anything or say anything?
On the blade, you mentioned a X-Acto knife. What you're looking for is a snap blade. And so you can always snap off the blade and it gives you a sharp one. That's the only thing I have to really add at this point.
All right, yeah. So a sharp blade, make sure you have a sharp blade. I mean, the snap blades are nice and easy. You can just snap them off. And then they have a sharp edge. The one thing that, you know, you want to be cautious a little bit down the road on that one is that when you need those deeper cuts, if you snapped off too much through the build, you're going to have to get a new blade to put on there. So just be aware of that. But yeah, definitely, you know, good point. The snap blades are really nice, real simple. Snap them off, done deal. All right, now it should be hot enough. All right, so I'm just running a nice, steady little bead across here. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. These are just to hold together. So that piece is on, glued. Again, what I'm looking for is to make this as smooth as I possibly can. Okay, then when I do that, Obviously, again, flat surface. Flat is going to be your big friend right now. Is making sure that you've got this as flat as you possibly can, so when you are gluing later on and putting a little bit of weight to keep everything down, that this is as flat as you can get it. And you'll see what I mean here shortly. So I'm just looking at that edge. There's a little bit of a lip, but not too big of a deal. It's good and flat. Should hold. Again, you know, it's not crucial that this thing is, I mean, you can see like this edge is a little bit off. The main thing, again, is right in here, is having that 100% flat. So that seems like it's going to hold pretty good. We're going to do, that's the top, so then we're going to work on the bottom. So I just set aside that wing bed. Get this piece. This is pretty thin, so I'm probably just going to run a little bit of hot glue there, a little bit of hot glue there. Put them together, that way I've got a good solid base. So again, you know, this one was really thin. I mean, you can see through the foam here, but again, you just want that curvature. Make sure that leading edge is vital, that that leading edge is going to be 100% straight. Makes for a lot smoother flight. So there we go. We got our pieces together. We are good to go. So now we're going to jump into what I usually like to do with the actual wing halves before I get going. Because they're laser cut, there's a small bit of the foam that melts and can create little boogers or stuff on them. So I'm going to rub these things together and kind of sand off some of the stuff. So it gives it a little bit smoother profile. You can sand it. You can sand it if you want later on. But you know, this really knocks off a lot of the boogers for me. Okay, just looking at it, and you can see down the edge. See if I can catch that on camera. I mean, there's a little tiny bit of bend, but we're going to get that out. I'll show you guys how to do that. And the other thing that I do, you know, at this point, is I just kind of rub these pieces together to kind of open them up, get any kind of loose spots off of them. We're good to go there. You see, I mean, they're
good.
Oh, what's that?
I said, rub it good.
Yeah. So yeah, we're so we joined us, another local guy. We and Trey, we fly a lot together. Great guys to be around. But we're gonna be getting this thing glued up. So all we're gonna do right now is we're just gonna glue these halves together, and then I'm gonna show you a little reinforcement trick that I do. When I'm gluing, once I hot glue these together, well, you know what? You can do it a number of ways. We're going to go ahead and do it the way that I have been doing it. But we're going to put some E6000, put it in here, rub it, make sure that you've got all the E6000 over this surface, there. Kind of leave it separate for a few minutes, gets a little tacky. And then we'll get it kind of together, and then we'll start looking at the spar layout and everything else. So, again, so I've got my bottom set up there. So looking at the wing, you know, this is the bottom side here. So when I'm gluing all this stuff, I'm going to be putting this in just like that, so that I'll be able to put some weights on it and keep it 100% flat.
You got some wax paper under that?
I don't. If I got any kind of stuff on there, I'll end up sanding it off.
What I recommend on the sanding part, this is just what I did. I went to my local hardware store and I found a foam sanding block. They're great because they'll get the foam down. They don't take a lot off. I use a 60 grit, 120 grit. 60 knocks down all the boogers that Jay was talking about, and the 120 finishes it to a nice fuzzy feel with paint stick.
Yeah, you can kind of see some of what we're talking about right on that edge there. But we're gonna hit some of it with the sand here in a minute. So all I'm gonna do, E6000 again. I got white. You know, clear is usually the one I got, but this is what they so happen. Push from the back. We're just gonna put a good coating on there. Remember, this is metal, so it's gonna keep on gooping out.
You got the white one.
So then, well, I mean, that's just sitting there. It's going to, you know, a little bit runs off, whatever. You can pick it up, move it around. But you're going to want to rub these together and really spread that out over all the surface area as much as you can over both areas. So you see where they're touching. You want to have that good glue surface there. So you can kind of see it filling that area. Filling this area. Everything looks good and covered on both sides. So I'm going to kind of set that out, let it sit for a little bit. I'm going to pull the spars out, and we're going to start kind of looking at the depth of the spars and how they lay out. So, and don't worry about the glue. I mean, it's tacky, but the more air gets on it, it's going to get even more tacky. So I'm just going to take off. So you got your spars that came in your kit. So hang on to all those spars. Hang on to every little piece of the spar, man. I've got a bunch of pieces that I hang on to, but they come in handy in later on. So now I'm just going to look at laying these out. So I'm going to set them in the channels. I'm going to show you guys here in just 1 second what I'm talking about. So this one's not even going in the channel, so it's obviously not deep enough. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take very carefully a razor blade, run down that line. We're going to deepen it up so you can get that spar. And what you want to do is, you can see how you can see the spar sticking up over the surface. You want to get that spar to be below the surface. So let me show you a trick. So again, with your X-Acto, and you can do this like level the blade out to a certain depth, and it'll help keep it straight. Alright, that should be good and deep. I'm going to go ahead and, since I know they're kind of thin, the channels, I'm going to go ahead and do these other ones while I got this sitting here. And you just follow the channel lines where they're at. Makes it really, really simple. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to go too deep and go all the way through. So don't do that. So now they should go back down in. And I usually leave a small piece out on the end here. It kind of helps later on, and we'll take that off. But you can see now, very, very, very little, if any, is actually protruding up. So I can see it. I'm just going to push it down. What I'm doing right now is I'm letting that kind of open up that channel. So I'm about to put glue in that, and then it's going to hold there. Remember, you've got glue sitting here. It's starting to tack up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on both sides. I'm just setting these in. We're not gluing anything yet. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Check out the spar. See how much I'm looking at. Again, it's not going all the way down, so I'm going to cut that. Making my depth. Making sure I'm not going too deep. Just giving it a good little light over. Again, I know that they're all going to be almost the same, so I'm going to go ahead and channel these out a little bit. Alright. Looks pretty good. Again, can't see any of it sticking up. Looking pretty good. So I'm gonna let that side kind of stretch a little bit. I'm eyeballing the edge here. I can see there's a little curve coming towards me here. So I'm just gonna keep that in mind. Whenever I lay it down, that's where the wing bed's gonna come in. I'm gonna make sure that when I glue this, I straighten that out as much as possible. See how this is. Yeah, they're getting there. So since all of them have kind of been like that, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting these things down each time.
What are you doing, Trey?
With the wing.
Wait.
There he goes. There's a light for the first time.
Jake.
Yeah. Man, I just cut it. I just cut it off the side. What's up?
Look at the picture.
You can't see right now.
Oh, yeah. Nice hat.
Hey, look, someone else joined. Who's that?
Yep.
It's William Perry.
What's up, William?
Don't mind the hats. It's more like this.
So right now I'm just cutting the channels out so that they can go, that the spars go below the surface edge.
Oh, it's Sean. What up, Sean? How did you mount your phone up like that? Jake,
What's that?
how'd you get your phone up there?
It's actually my laptop. It's sitting on top of my fridge.
Ah.
What are you working on tonight, Wee?
What?
What are you working on tonight?
So I'm just cutting these things a little bit deeper so that the spars sit.
I
Again,
don't know.
wanting them to be 100% flush. Remember, we got glue drying right here, so be careful.
I have too many projects. I don't want to work on any of them.
So you're going to watch me work on them, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna watch Jake work on it.
We're here for emotional support.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with this. This thing is too small. Line of sight.
So again, checking, making sure none of that spar is sticking up on that edge. Nice and smooth. Should be good to go. When we get these things glued together, we're going to check this crossbar. But right now, my main intention is to start stretching these holes out on the main wing spar right now. And then see what kind of issues I'm going to be fighting as far as keeping that leading edge as straight as possible. Doing all this while the glue is drying right there. So then again, I'm going to look down that leading edge. Trying to show you guys. It looks pretty straight off the camera.
Yes, see.
Yeah, that one's pretty straight.
Yeah.
This one had a little bit of a bend down on this end, coming this way. Now it's kind of bending the other way. So before we glue, we just want to try to get it straight as we can. Alright, so now like this should be pretty well glued. Well, I'm sorry, tacky. So again, make sure you note, which way we're doing this. I think it's kind of, that would be Captain Obvious that you're doing it wrong if you try to do it like this. So, but, obviously looking at the angle here for your ailerons. So we're going to put these together, and we're going to want to get them as flat and straight as we possibly can. So a little push together. Again, they're tacky already. So just making sure we're getting them as straight as we can. Looks pretty good for government work. So looking at that, just wanting it to be as straight, not a big lip here. It's a little bit of one. I can work that out. That's pretty damn true, pretty damn straight. Making sure your lines are lining up. Looking pretty good there. So again, remember this is our bottom. So I'm going to put the bottom side down in the wing bed. And what I do on each side is to kind of keep these together is I'm going to run some goop down this line, and then I'm going to scrape it off. Goop, E6000, whatever it is. Again, I'm going to paint this thing, so I've got white E6000. I usually use the clear, but so this is kind of just something that I do to add a little bit of reinforcement across that middle piece. Try to keep it out of that channel where this crossbar is going to sit. And you can use a million things, but I use like an old cut up Elevon or whatever. And I'm just going to work that in.
Try. Right there. See that? The run cam mount.
So now I'm going to set and let that dry. What I'm going to do while that's drying is I'm going to go ahead and pull these spars out. I'm going to check this spar across. Make sure it's sitting flat. I'm probably going to have to cut a little bit off. But yeah. So anybody got any questions right now?
Sean says, sup bros, sup we, and like butter.
Butter.
Black butter. Nice hat.
That's butter.
Thank you. It's an Apex. It's an Apex hat.
Apex hat.
Where's that deal at?
So Chris always puts in a lot of extra spars, so it's not like when you're building building like refrigerator or car parts or whatever, you know, extra parts are okay. So I'm going to kind of line this up, checking the channel edge. I'm going to cut that off right there. Again, keep these little pieces. So usually what I do is this crossbar is going to go underneath these spars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift these up. Again, I'm waiting for all this stuff to dry. So I haven't glued anything. You can like leave this end in if you want. Pull this side up. And run this bad boy as deep down as I can. So your joining areas are going to be the ones that are going to give you the worst spots are going to be like right here. So you want to make sure that those are down as far as they will go. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take, again, that piece that I pulled off. I'll just run through and make sure I'm pushing this thing down as much as I can. It's right here. Just looking to see. Yeah, that'll still clear. So yeah, just checking those pivotal points, like right there. And it's going to be right there. Again, working all of this while it's in the bed. So you're trying to get it as flat as you possibly can. So, checking this out. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. So what I do, I just set them to the side. Pop this guy out. This is going to be the first one that we're going to glue in there. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just get it a little bit. Make sure I got a good channel right here where that joint comes in. Same thing here. Looks good to go. All right, now we're going to go in with some glue, some super glue. Super glue and activator will be your friends. CA glue. So I'm just going to take this tip off. This is a brand new bottle. Try to keep it as, to me, narrow is better. Make sure I got a good hole there.
What kind of CA glue do you recommend?
Thicker CA glue is better. So the thicker the CA glue is going to give you a little bit better coverage inside the channels. So I mean, this is from the hobby shop, Remote Control Hobbies. I know there's some name brands out there. I don't have any of the name brands.
Bob Smith.
Bob Smith, there you go.
Starbond is what I use.
Starbond, that's another good name. All right, so the glue's coming out. I'm good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run down that channel. Run down each channel. Put the spars in it. As I'm putting the spars in, I'm going to be twisting them a little bit to try to get the glue wrapped around it. So put the nozzle down. And that glue in there. Glue down the channel here. Kind of looking in the channel to make sure that the glue's coming out. I did this one time and it was clogged, and then couldn't figure out why they weren't sticking. Alright, so the super glue is in those spar areas. Put the cap on it. So now I'm going to start laying the spars in. Just double checking I got the right spar. I'm going to go in, spin it a little bit. Put the glue around it. Push it down, keeping my little piece here. Pushing this piece down. Pushing it down good and tight in there. Put this piece in. I can take this little end and I can kind of spin it a little bit. Get it down and around in it. Pushing it down. I can already tell that super glue is starting to set already. So I'm trying to hurry a little bit. Getting it down in there. Take it, spin it a little bit. Again, looking at these pivotal points right here, making sure they're in there. Then all I do is I double check, make sure that that surface is clear. Like right here, I've got it's sticking up just a little bit. So I want to try to push this down as much as I can. That will work. Check these edges out. Got a little bend. Pretty damn straight. Alright, so those guys are good. So once everything's good, it's in there. I'm going to hit it with activator. That's going to activate all the super glue inside the channels. Then from here, I'm going to go ahead and look at, I'm going to put these spars in. So right here is about where that spar is. I just measured it. Take out the piece, grab another spar. I'm going to match it up to this one. We're going to be good to go. Once this is set, I'm gonna hit it with the E6000. No, before I do that, I'm probably going to I'm going to hit the other side, go ahead and glue the spars in, and then I'm going to go with E6000 over the top, and I'll show you what I do with that. So got my pieces out again, 2 pieces. I need to make a little bit more room here. So I'm going to bring this channel back just a little bit. Bring this channel back a little bit. Again, the trick on that is to not go too deep. Make sure that's good and flat in there. Might just need to take off a little bit. I'm just using snippers to get with these carbon fiber. The solid carbon fiber, it's easy to do with the snippers, but I mean, you can always use a Dremel tool. But just making sure that these fit all right before I go ahead and hit them with the CA. Yeah, that's way better. Yeah. So I'm going to go in with this channel, the CA again. Fully embedded in there. Again, take these small little pieces you can push down in there. You're good to go. So that side is all CA'd in. We've got the glue working here. Pull apart a little bit. Again, this glue is it's just activating, so put it in there. Checking the edges. Looking good. Alright, now I'm going to do the bottom. So I'm going to need to get my wing bed that I made for the bottom. Actually, I'm sorry, the top, so I can work on the bottom. So put that bad boy in there. Again, I'm going to check out, cut this cross piece. Hang on to the pieces. So this just isn't deep enough for me, I can tell already. So I'm going to go over the top of that. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it out. Rework this channel real quick. Be very careful not to cut too deep. There we go. A lot better. A lot better. Alright, so we're going to take a break here in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put the CA in this. And then spar it. Hit it with the activator. Make sure she's locked in. Cross member first.
Just FYI, Jacob, currently lost video.
You don't have me, or I'm
No,
still.
I have audio, but I don't have video. Anybody else have video?
I see video.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's just me.
I see
Alright.
Jacob's big head.
My big head. Am I blocking the view?
You good?
Oh, it's not, no, I didn't do no welding. This is a EGR delete pipe for my car.
Again, I'm spinning this as I'm putting it in to try to get the glue to go around it.
Sean don't got no audio? Why is he typing? Sean.
I don't know how he types. I'd love to be able to type. I don't
You
know
can
how
type. Click on your screen. And there's a
So I'm
a
looking
button for you to
again.
type if you wanted to.
Got very, very minor hump right here that I'm looking at, but it's all good. It'll work. A dog will hunt, as they say. Feeling how true it is in the foam bed. Feels pretty good. Alright, now I'm going to cut my pieces up here. Measure them up. Eyeball them one more time. Make sure they're in there good. Below the bed, looking good. Or below the wing surface. Looks good to me. Yep.
What's up, fellas? Oh, I see Sean.
What's up, Sean?
Evening.
Just building the wing.
Looking good. Oh, all done. Oh, watching glue dry. That won't take long. Just spray some activator on it and bam.
This is a EGR delete pipe for my car. It's
Okay.
EGR.
Again, I'm going to fill it one more time, make sure that we're pretty true before I activate it.
Oh, you don't ever visually look at it?
I visually looked at it about 5 or 6 times, but I
You
can
just
fill.
must have touched it. That's it. It's okay to say it.
I just freaking that bit.
Pretty good and straight there. Yeah, pretty damn straight. If I do say so myself.
Can't see it from Ferndale.
What's that?
I said you can't see it from Ferndale.
Yeah, looks good for my house. So now I'm going to hit it with the activator. Should be locked in.
Looks like some good Star Bond stuff there.
It is some good Star Bond from my bro. So I'm just going to give that a hot minute. Nothing major, just looking at it. Already pretty solid. So what I usually do is after I've gotten done doing that, I try to squeeze as much as I can out of these little tubes. So I'll roll these little boogers up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. $6 worth.
But now I'm going to take.
Use a popsicle stick to roll it. That was pretty smart.
Yeah, it is. They have that, or maybe even if they can get another spar in there. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the E6000 and I'm going to run it across the top of each one of these. E6000 kind of self-levels, so it'll go down and wrap around the spar. So kind of help lock everything in. Again, I haven't done this crease yet, but I'm going to go ahead and do that crease while I got the E6000 out. So, and then I'm going to smooth it all out. So it's gushing out right now. But just putting it over. Don't need a whole lot, because we're going to go ahead and go over this with a straight edge or my little balsa tool that I showed you guys a minute ago. Just putting... And again, this is white. This is what they had at Walmart when I went shopping.
Clear E6000 or is that white?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is that clear E6000 or white?
This is white. Just
Nice.
what they had at Walmart. I'm gonna paint it anyway.
Yeah, but no, that'll blend in really well.
Yeah, I figured it'll take away from the dark lines. So then I'm gonna take my straight red edge, and I'm just smoothing over. Smoothing over. You can see a lot of it's already gotten into in around the spar.
I think we lost Trey. Let me add him back in here.
Main thing with this, you just want to make sure it's flat when you're done. See little holes, you can bring a little bit in. I mean, you can kind of see where I'm going to have a very little bit of the spar kind of came up right here. No big deal. I can see a little hole right here. So I want to make sure I cover that with the E6000. So what that E6000 is going to do is it's going to set in around the spar and create an even more flat surface for you to paint or laminate over. And it's going to lock that spar in good and tight, as they say in Germany. So that side's done. That's the bottom side of it. I say done. It's not 100% done. We're going to do a couple other things to it. But as far as sparring goes, that was it for the sparring. Do you guys want to add anything for a brief minute?
Yeah.
No, man, that looks good. Covered it.
I usually put T-pins in between the two wing halves until it dries.
Yeah, that's always a good safety precaution. I just hot glued my wing halves together.
That works too.
Yeah, do you guys use hot glue, 3M90, or the E6000 to put it together?
I put E6000. I've done everything. Hot glue, E6000, 3M, welders.
Yeah.
Goop. I mean, I can do the T-pin thing. I mean, I didn't necessarily put that on there, but what we's talking about is, I wonder where I got these from. But you can put these in and just help secure these two together. I usually crisscross them when I'm doing that.
Yeah, T-pins are your friend.
Let you manipulate the wing a little more. You move on to other things while it's still being dry.
So I'm just pressing those in. crossing them over so that they're pushing against each other and holding together. Not totally necessary, and honestly, 9 times out of 10, I don't do it, but we'll do it since everybody's watching.
Good. Now you gotta make me want to work on one of my wings.
I do sometimes, I know when I put in the Coroplast or the PLA in here, I do like to use these T-pins to lock it in so that it's secure against that while it's drying. It's a great thing to do. So those T-pins will hold that together. And we activated the super glue, the CA glue. So I'm just looking at seeing how tacky this is. And what I'm going to do is I got a little bit of a roll there. I'm going to go ahead and flip this thing over. And I'm going to go ahead and glue the other side with the white glue. So this is already kind of starting to set up. The glue is setting up the E6000 on top. So you can kind of see it here. All the way across. Can't see the control or the spars. They're not sticking up over the surface of the wing. Be good, make a good smooth surface for when we go back down in them with laminate. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side here. Those T-pins are gonna hold me up a little bit. I'm not gonna use a lot of pressure. I'm going to go ahead and put this E6000 in here. Let it start setting in around the spar. Again, we're going to flat edge this to get it down inside. Yeah, this is the first time I've used this white E6000, and I'm actually pretty excited about it for this application because it's going to keep my heavy coats down around the spars.
Yeah, why you want to cover so much?
What's that, Sean?
You won't have to cover so much.
Yeah. So
I
again,
like that. I'll have to keep that in mind next time at craft stores.
again, you'll see little holes pop up, and I try to just smooth that over with some E6000 as much as possible. Get a little built up on there. It's no big deal. I have cardboard laying around everywhere. Just take that off, put it off some cardboard, and so I don't know if you guys can see. There's a little hole here, little hole there. Take it and work it. But hell, that's about all I need right there. With it being that thin, it's going to dry pretty quick. So I'll put the T-pins in it. I've got most of them on the other side, so I'm only going to put a couple of them on this side to kind of pin these bad boys together.
Trey, you need some T-pins?
I have some. I really haven't been using them lately.
I got about 800 of them if you need any.
I think we bought stock in T-pins. That's why he's like a big advocate of it.
No, they sent me too many. I
So-
thought I ordered 100. Apparently, I ordered 10 boxes of 100.
Nice. So this is the top wing bed. So I'm gonna put the bottom so I can put them down. So that activator, it kept that edge straight. So I'm just double checking. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, I might have an eensy beensy little tiny up curve, but it ain't enough to worry about to me. And you can already feel this thing is just solid, man. I mean, it's there.
This is gonna have a triple motor, right? That's what we're doing.
I thought about a dual 1407. Dual 1407 with dual threes, man. I think it'll fit. But these things are fast. I mean, they're fast out the box, man. I mean, you don't have to have a lot.
As long as it's light.
Not a whole lot of wing to get moving.
Yeah.
Spec motors weren't such high. MIA everywhere. I had to put a spec motor on my Mini Z.
So we're at about an hour on this first installation. So I'm just going to let it sit. Let all the E6000 dry as much as I can. Kind of notice here on the bottom, see the small little holes that are popping up and forming across here? I'm gonna go ahead and hit that again with E6000 and make sure I'm down deep in that. That's what that E6000 will do, is it settles, and as it settles, it might find a small void. So I'm just making sure that it's getting down and in there.
What are you working on, Trey? Still? Wait, which one is that? Is that the 30 or is that the spec?
Spec. I ran out of lamb, so.
I know someone that has some.
You get it with Oh, that is.
Oh, look, Sean has a bunch of lamb too.
This is why I need to get up with you tomorrow, week.
Huh? Which one is that one? Let me see.
The Flash.
Oh. Oh, the 5152s? Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Put that on my 3000 kV motor. Okay, come here. I'm busy. You need to go to bed. It's already 11 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay. Squirrel. Squirrel.
Yeah.
All right, so while that's drying, I guess it's beer time. So does anybody have any questions or concerns, whatever? It's just going to sit there and dry tonight. We'll work on the ailerons tomorrow. So this is session 1. Work on the ailerons. We'll work on reinforcing the base with some sheetrock tape. So we're going to reinforce the base, the bottom of it, whenever we put in the battery plate, and glue all that in.
What are you reinforcing with?
I'm reinforcing it with this. So what I do is I put the battery tray in, and then I will goop that in, and then I'll go over the top of it with this, all the way across the bottom as much as I can. And once I do that, then I go the top of it with another good amount of goop, and I smooth it and trowel it all into the pores of this thing. So you can see it's just like a mesh.
Right?
And then it just bites and glues, and you've got all this fiber to reinforce it.
Yeah, drywall tape is good.
Yeah.
I didn't do that on my Mini Z, so mine's probably gonna be weak.
I just found that it keeps it from wanting to twist. So here, I'll show you since we got show and tell. It's beer time right now. Hold on, let me show you.
We have to finish my back wing. I've been working too much. I said, yeah, I have to finish my back wing. I've been working too much.
So this is out of the graveyard. This was my first Mini Z that I did. And
That poor thing.
I crashed it pretty damn good, but you can see, watch it. You see how it's twisting like that? There's no reinforcement underneath it. I mean, it's just, it's not supposed to do that. So what doing that tape on the bottom does is it helps hold all that together so that you don't get that funky deal there. I mean, you crash anything enough, this is to a test, you crash anything enough, it's going to break. But hopefully some of the tricks kind of help you last a little bit longer.
Yeah, mine's like that too.
Lasting longer is always desirable.
Hey, have y'all ever seen the size difference between the mini track and the big track?
Yeah.
See this? That's ridiculous.
Oh, is that Dave's?
I ran out of hot. I'm in a bind now. I ran out of hot glue.
Hey, I got some hot glue for you.